In a city like Alexandria, there's lots to see and experience. And if you know where to look, there's lots of local Catholic history, too. The story of Catholic Alexandria begins here, at the corner of Princess and Pitt Streets, now the site of a residential neighborhood. It is believed the first public mass was celebrated here in 1781 by a chaplain serving in Rochambeau's French army. Years later, in 1788, Colonel John Fitzgerald, an Irishman and aide-de-camp of George Washington during the Revolutionary War, hosted a St. Patrick's Day fundraising party for the creation of a Catholic church. The money raised by benefactors, including Washington, went toward the creation of St. Mary Church. The first home of St. Mary is the current site of St. Mary Cemetery, located next to the Capitol Beltway. The first person buried there was 33-year-old Kevin Boa. His headstone reads, "All you that come my grave to see, prepare yourselves to follow me. Repent and turn to God in time, for I was taken in my prime." Across the George Washington Memorial Parkway is the Contrabands and Freedmen Cemetery. During the Civil War, Alexandria was occupied by Union troops and quickly became a haven for runaway slaves. To provide a burial ground for the refugees, the military governor seized property owned by Francis L. Smith, Robert E. Lee's lawyer, and a wealthy parishioner of St. Mary. Years later, his descendants conveyed the land to the Diocese of Richmond. The diocese sold the land in 1946. St. Mary moved to its current location in 1826. During excavations that year, a coffin bearing the body of a man wearing a Revolutionary War uniform was found. The unknown man was reinterred next door in the old Presbyterian Meeting House graveyard. Nearly a century later, in 1929, a memorial was placed over the grave. A moving inscription on the tomb reads, "Here lies a soldier of the Revolution whose identity is known but to God." His was an idealism that recognized a supreme being, that planted religious liberty on our shores, that overthrew despotism, that established a people's government, that wrote a constitution setting metes and bounds of delegated authority, that fixed a standard of value upon men above gold, and lifted high the torch of civil liberty along the pathway of mankind. During the Civil War, St. Mary was one of only 2 churches in the city allowed to hold regular religious services. Other churches became hospitals or were used in other ways by Union troops, but St. Mary escaped that fate. According to the Civil War diary of Anne S. Froebel, in 1862, they wanted to make a hospital of the Catholic Church, but a regiment of Irish Catholics swore that the first man who attempted to take possession of the church, they would kill him on the spot, and they let the Catholic Church alone. During the era of segregation, the Black parishioners of St. Mary longed for a church of their own. In 1913, Thomas Blair, a St. Mary sexton, formed a committee that obtained permission from Bishop Dennis J. O'Connell to establish a parish for Black Catholics. Philadelphia's Mother Catherine Drexel, now a saint, contributed $8,000 to the cause. Bishop O'Connell laid the cornerstone for the English Gothic-style church in 1915. In 1969, St. Joseph became a territorial parish, not one exclusively for African Americans. Had enough history? It's time to hit the shops. Amid the boutiques and cafes of Old Town is a Catholic bookstore run by the Daughters of St. Paul. Besides lots of books, the store sells religious statues, crucifixes, greeting cards, and DVDs. Next stop is the Christ House thrift store. Diocesan Catholic Charities Christ House is a men's shelter, food pantry, soup kitchen, and a thrift store, which has clothes, jewelry, and knickknacks for sale. Proceeds benefit the Catholic Charities Emergency Assistance Program.